Hey everyone. So I wanted to say thank you for all the comments and responses and the feeling of solidarity that was coming through in my last video about the deep state and tackling that as humans. I love the sense of communion and how much we all feel it, right? So in this video, I wanted to ask everyone if they could share ideas of how we do this. Almost like a New Earth think tank, right? We're all so brilliant, and I know that brilliance comes out of collaboration. And for example, somebody had messaged or commented on one of the video or one of the posts that a true global, what if we had a true global court that was actually for the people, right? So they can't have any other interests. They can't have business interests, business ties. They can't be receiving funds in the back end, like actual genuine judges beyond reproach, right? What if we had that oversaw corporations and entities, that was truly for the citizens, right? That's a beautiful idea. Something that came up as well and that I've been thinking about is doing ritual or ceremony. So in a more spiritual sense, if we all bring our bodies and our intention to wanting this and asking for this and putting it into the earth, and however we go about our own personal ritual, but if we all have that in our hearts together across the globe, wherever we live, that's incredibly powerful, because I know things happen in the spirit first and they come into the material. Then another thing on the material front, a friend and I have been discussing possibly creating an NPO, because I know there are so many people who feel this way, so many people who are fed up, but there's not a lot of avenues of what else you can do. You can just go, yeah, I'm aware of it and I hate it. But then what? Then what? Where then can you put your tax money? You can do tax deductible money in NPOs. What can you support that is genuinely affecting change? You see, because a lot of the systems of protest and change that occur within the system are subsumed into the system. I don't know if that makes sense. So it's like the avenues that we use to go about affecting change are avenues that are created within the system itself. And then the system will then come and like a Pac-Man almost consume that. This new earth space or paradigm cannot happen within the mechanism of the system itself, right? Like I personally am I love sacred systems of governance. So in traditional Bantu culture, before colonization, each community was overseen by a group of elders, right? And the elders are revered. The elders have become elders because they are respected and wise, and they have no ulterior motives, right? It's not normal that politicians campaign and receive millions of dollars from corporations, and we think that the politician is not going to create policy that benefits the corporation. The same as our news, right? Ad revenue for our major legacy news sources comes from mostly big pharma, and we're surprised when they don't report on the misconduct and perversive acts of big pharma. Well, why would they? They're receiving millions. And the fact that that's even allowed, the fact that that's not even regulated, I mean, how can we expect any kind of truth to prevail? Right? We must go back to a sacred system of governance where there is a group of elders, right? It's all in the open. They don't even care about materialism because they've transcended that much. all they care about is the earth and her people, and what's fair, what's good. You know, this two-party system is a joke. So for me, I don't know how, but I would love to bring back the sacred systems of governance, right, where you have elders from many indigenous communities, right, not a group of white guys. Okay, so that's one of my passion projects. And one of the things a friend and I were also discussing is creating a platform, because a lot of, like, my mom and my friends will say to me, especially when the pandemic was happening, a lot of friends were saying to me, and my parents were like, where are you getting this information? See, because if you're not used to the fact that this is occurring, it's hard for people to find information, right? They just turn on the TV and they get the big pharma paid for news, right? They turn on their computers, they just get the algorithm feeding them exactly what the powers want them to see. So they can't find the sources of science and information that were highly censored and still are being censored, right? Those sources were popping up all over the place for me. Rumble, BitChute, this link, that link. I mean, they were coming up all over the place. It was difficult to find them unless you were kind of part of a group or community who were aware of that stuff. You weren't really seeing it, right? So I also want to create a space where all these sources are aggregated, and they're in a clear place where people can come and engage with them and see the information. I think a lot of people have not seen information. So that's also important to me. But there's so much we need to think about as humans, custodians. Like, how can finance work? How can governance work? How can we do this? That's what I want to ask. You know, I would love to hear your opinion of ideas, just spitball. And I think that this conversation will develop, right? I really want to create a space for this conversation and create the new thing together. Big job, but I am an idealist. Sending love.